Hello, hello. I really hope this week that you can hear me because, as some of you probably remembered from last week, we have a whole new setup, which I'm super excited about. Like the camera and everything is fantastic, but the sound wasn't working. So please, if you cannot hear me, I hate starting the show with this question, but please put in the chat whether or not you can hear me. If you are watching this on my personal page or on YouTube, if you want to interact, see the comments, or even be eligible for the prize I'm giving away today, make sure you come over to my Facebook page, which is Clever Dever Wherever. So now let's get started. And please, since this show is all about how to make travel friends all over the world, so please put in the chat where you are joining us from, because I know it's always like a big global party and it's so fun to see where everybody's at. So make sure you add where you are coming in from today. So what are we talking about today? Part of why I wanted to bring this guest on, besides the fact that she's amazing, is to talk about, I don't know how you feel, but me personally, I feel like the last 2 years of being in this pandemic haze, like our world, our network, our communities have gotten somewhat smaller. And so I want to talk about how we can, now that we're returning to this more social aspect of life, how can we rebuild friendships and connections, and how can we meet people that are interested in the same things that we are, specifically travel. So I'm going to check in. Let's see. Todd Berg from Palm Springs. Oh my God, Todd, I love you. Caitlin, Maryland. Maria's coming from Germany near Berlin. Pia is in from Sweden. Kristen, muggy South Florida. Okay, sorry about the muggy part. I'm never a fan of that. This is amazing. I know this is going to keep getting coming in. So, and if you see anybody in the comments that's somewhere near you or somewhere you like, don't feel shy about saying hi. Beth is coming in from Pennsylvania. Tamara in Oregon. Rachel, the border of Reseda and Tarzana. Next time I'm going to need GPS coordinates, Rachel, because that's not specific enough. Adriana, Florida. Hello, hello. So this week, I am talking with Beth Santos. This is my friend. We'll go into a little bit of that. It's very exciting. She's the founder and CEO of Wanderful, and it's an inclusive community of thousands of travelers and travel content creators. And so we are going to talk with her about rebuilding these connections and finding people that love travel. You don't even have to leave your house. And before we go any further, if you have friends, because this is part of who I am at this point. If you have friends in other countries, hit like. And if you want to make friends in other countries, hit love. Because I want to kind of see that division. For me, having friends in other countries is everything. Because I can call them up and go like, hey, what's going on here? Or, hey, can I come stay with you? Or even just like, what's good? Like, what's your favorite restaurant? It's just like, the richness of having international friends cannot be beat. So again, like if you have friends in other countries, hit love if you want friends in other countries. And we're going to talk about how to do that. I just want to make sure, Rachel, those still aren't GPS coordinates. Let's see. So, Saskia is in from Germany. Love it, love it, love it. So I also, a lot of you know that I love to give travel gear away, and today is no exception. What's really exciting is I'm going to be giving away a beautiful, sustainable tote bag from Wanderful. And I'm going to share my screen because I want you to see it, but I mess this up every time. So bear with me. Let's see. Hold on a second. It always looks weird. Hold on. I guess there's always going to be some tech issue. Unable to share my screen. Okay. Well, see, I told you there was going to be a tech issue. Well, take my word for it. It's a beautiful, like turquoise tote bag with the globe on it. And I would love to share a picture of it, but I'm going to give that away. How do you win? Anytime Beth or I say something in the comments that resonates with you or is like a great travel tip, write the word nugget and then include the tip. Even if it's just a couple words, you don't have to do it verbatim, but include the tip in the comments so that other people can see it as well. And at the end, you can enter as many as you want. I'm going to scroll through, pick the winner, and send it to you. So thank you again for coming today. Who am I? I hope you know, but if you don't, I'm Juliana Dever. I am an experiential travel expert. I've been traveling the world for 25 years. I have visited 60 countries. I've lived in 4, and every year I spend about 4 months or so returning to the countries that I really love and traveling deeper so that I can bring all those good inside tips to you so that you can travel off the beaten path as well. And I also work with women in Eastern Europe, and together we curate and create cultural immersion adventures that you can take with me, and it's a wonderful opportunity to directly impact local communities and support women and family owned businesses. So now I'm going to introduce my guest, and I'm bringing her on. Let's make sure there is no problem. Yay!
I'm here.
Beth. So Beth is the founder and CEO of Wanderful, and she's going to tell you more about what that is. And just so you know, too, it reaches 45,000 women each year through an online membership network, local chapters in over 50 cities, global summits, small group trips. Beth, oh my God, tell me all about it. Let's talk. First, I'm going to tell people before we get into the meat and bones of Wanderful, two things I want to say. One, how did you and I meet? So we have been friends since 2015, I want to say.
I'm glad you're answering this question because I don't know.
I think actually I met you at a Wanderful, a Women in Travel Summit they move every year, and this one was in Boston. And then you and I were both selected to be part of a big campaign with a really big company. And they paid for us to go on adventures all over the American Southwest.
It's fun. It was fun.
And so many good times were had across Utah and Arizona, and yeah, so that's how we met. And also, before we go any further, I recently read that you are now the godmother of a cruise ship. I don't know what that means, and I need you to explain it.
I love that you're just going straight into this stuff. I'm like, I'm just going to sit here and just, agree with you the whole time. I'm just going to let you carry it, Juliana, because you're doing far better than me. Yes, I am the godmother of the Azamara Onward, which is a new cruise ship under the Azamara line, which is also a reasonably new cruise line that just separated from Royal Caribbean 2 years ago. And it's this spectacular magical adventure that I'm on I'll make this short because otherwise I'll ramble about this forever. The godmother of a cruise ship is typically an honorific title. Oprah is a godmother. Kate Middleton, also a godmother. Pitbull, also a godmother. And they crack the champagne bottle over a new cruise ship. So there's only one godmother for every cruise ship. Wow. And they're the one that actually christens it at the christening. And so Azamara emailed me and reached out to me and said, we want you to be the godmother of the Azamara Onward. And I told my mom, and she said, delete it, it's spam. And thank God for my husband, because he was like, no, get on a call with them. And they said, and because I am not Pitbull or Kate Middleton or Oprah, as much as I would love to be all of those people combined. And so I had a very great conversation with them about why me. And they said, we are a woman-led cruise line. Their president is a woman. Many of the people in their senior leadership are women, as well as people of color. And they said, we want to do things differently. We don't want our cruise ship godmother to be just an honorific title. We want to partner with somebody who's doing the work. And so they had done loads of research into Wanderful, into all the work that I've done. And they were like, we want you. So I'm flying to Monte Carlo at the end of the month to christen a cruise ship.
Oh my God, that's amazing. I thought you'd already christened it. This is fantastic.
No. This is a whole thing. Nope. We're only in the beginning.
Wow. Only in the beginning. Wow. How fun. Well, congratulations.
Oh, thanks, Juliana. Yeah.
That's very cool. So let's talk a little bit about Wanderful. And again, remind you if, I think I didn't remind anybody who's watching, if you missed last week, we talked about, my husband was on and we talked about how to look for a home abroad. And if you asked for those notes and you didn't get them, just put notes in the comment. If you want them, you didn't ask for them, but you still want them, make sure and put, oh my goodness, I'm so sorry, put abroad. put abroad in the comment. That way I can find you and make sure you get those notes. If you want the notes from today, because Beth and I are going to talk about a lot of great stuff, put notes in the comments. Okay. So that way I will find you and I will make sure you get all the information about today. And again, if you want to win the beautiful, wonderful tote bag that I cannot show you today because I don't know how to work my computer.
I wish I had one next to me, but I don't.
Make sure you put nugget. It's anything that we say that appeals to you, resonates with you, put nugget in there. It is U.S. residents only, unless you are going on my cruise. My cruise. Oh my God.
Now everybody wants a cruise. You want a cruise. You want a cruise.
I'm going to go on a cruise with Beth and Monte Carlo, who's coming. If you're going on one of my trips this summer, then I will give it to you. Otherwise, U.S. residents, but put nugget and any travel tips, tricks, information, put that after it, and that's how we will pick the winner. So let's get into why, and maybe explain just a little bit more about what Wanderful is, and we'll get into it further, but just kind of high level, and then why you started it.
Yeah, so Wanderful is an international collective of travel loving women as well as travel content creators. And we're on this collective mission to make travel better for all women worldwide. And that means a couple things. It means giving women the tools to get out there, to meet one another, to have amazing travel experiences by relying on a network of women worldwide who can help them. It also means a lot of what we do is not just like helping women travel, but also looking at why is it that women have so many questions and fears and things that hold them back sometimes from traveling. And a lot of that is on part of the industry. So we do a lot of industry advocacy. We really work with members of the industry to make their messaging more inclusive, to make sure that they're increasing the pipeline of women into leadership positions. And we do a lot to support women-owned businesses, women who are kind of the grassroots voices of travel, who are building, whether it's, you know, a career as a content creator, a small business owner, to rise. So we really operate this ecosystem, but all of it starts at the heart of the ethos of what we are, which is women helping women travel the world and creating a network that's so vast that any airport you land in any city around the world, you have instant access to somebody who can guide you, who can give you advice, who can meet you for a cup of coffee, who can host you in her home and just be there for you.
I mean, I love everything you're saying. And it just like, I just have to have a sidebar here for a minute, because when you say this, it just, and my best friend Rachel is on, the one who is shouting, I really want to win. But you know, this has been an uphill mission for Rachel and I for a long time, because Beth, you and I have had these discussions that Rachel and I have had many travel shows that people love, and yet when you take it to the network, and it's always like this crazy, like you have to somehow prove to them that women are the ones traveling, and it blows my mind. Like I find, and all the research, you've done the same research, more women are traveling than men. Women are more adventurous than men. Women travel further and do far more, they really get into cultures more and do all these things. And yet somehow in the industry, everybody wants to market to men. I'm like, women are also the ones doing the planning, and they're the ones that are deciding how much to spend. So it's just like, so I love that, you're kind of working from that angle to say, hey, wake up. Like, why do you think we need to be marketing? And of course, this is, not all men, but in general, in someone who's in the tourism industry, I am talking to everyone that does tours, there tends to be, especially a certain subset that just, they have no interest in leaving their home. There's some fantastic male travelers. My friend Todd is here as well. I know he's around the world, but it's like the majority are us. Like,
it's amazing, because I think when people talk about women in travel, they talk about it, we say it's a niche. Like, people will say, oh, that's I went on a radio show in Chicago a few years ago, and the host of the show was like, oh, women in travel, like, why did you pick that niche? And I was like, it's not a niche. Women are 85% of travel decisions, right? That's a really big niche. I was comparing this, and I was like, Microsoft's market share is 75% in the world. Women in travel is like bigger than right? So like, imagine going to Bill Gates and being like, so they'll like Microsoft niche. How is
Oh, so
that?
cute.
Fair and for you. Yeah, like that really cute. And it's like that's the thing though, is we have to change our perspective from women in travel being like the eat, pray, love story. That's like this cute little, woman going out. No, 2 out of 3 solo travelers are female. Women make the majority of purchasing decisions. Searches for and even solo female travel, searches for solo female travel in 2019 grew 230% on Google. I mean, the amount of interest and
Wow.
activity that's going on from women. I have said before, I'm like, we should look at men in travel as the niche. That's, so it really dominates. But the thing is that there's this huge discrepancy because, as you said, the people who are making the decisions in travel and the people that we're speaking to, it's not women. And if it is women, it's this very narrow segment of women that does not describe the huge diversity of women around the world. And so that's one thing that we're really looking to disrupt here.
That's, yes.
Yes. Easier said than done, but here we are talking about it today. Everybody, it is not a niche.
It's not a niche. So in terms of Wanderful and the kind of the outward facing aspect, like everyone who's watching this, even whether you're on the replay or you're here live today. So what is the primary benefit of being part of Wanderful?
Yeah. So, one way to think about this is imagine you go to a place and you don't know anybody, and the things that you have to figure out, you have to decide, right? I think, especially if you're traveling alone, but really in any circumstance, you go to a new place and there's a moment that you have to take to really navigate, okay, how am I going to use the train system? What is the currency conversion? How do I do? Now, imagine a time that you've gone to a place and you actually knew somebody, one person. Maybe it was a person that you went to school with 20 years ago, but they're still a friend and you still stay in touch from time to time. And that person, becomes a huge benefit to your trip, right? Maybe they only give you a little bit of advice. Maybe they recommend a restaurant and send you on your way. Maybe they host you for dinner and they welcome you. But knowing one person, I think from a logistical standpoint, from a psychological standpoint, from like an emotional security standpoint, it makes so much of a difference when you go to a place. And that's really what we're trying to create here, is a space where you can go anywhere and have instant access to somebody who can say, let me take you out for a cup of coffee and just show you like what our world is like. And especially for women, I think, because women do have to navigate a lot of changing social landscapes, gender norms and expectations, but really for anybody, I think there's this desire to experience the world and to make real connections and to meet people. And what better way to do that than having a network that's at your fingertips to help you plan your trip, to meet up with you in person when you're there, or even to check in with you afterward and to have that like, yes, I've been there kind of moment that so many of us have who identify as travelers. So that's really what we're looking at in terms of the value of this community.
I absolutely love that. And I know, like, even in the Facebook group, I see all the time, women putting in there, hey, I'm going to go to France. Does anybody, what would you suggest? And everyone's very helpful. Because everyone's, they're on varying degrees of that travel path, but, someone can say, oh, I love this little village and I love this. And don't forget this. And it's amazing how much information you can get simply by being part of the network and just kind of helping if you're going to travel on your own plan. But for me, like, knowing people in other countries, that is so key. It's so valuable to show up and be like, okay, it's day one and I'm going to sit down and have a coffee with someone and kind of get a lay of the land. And then you also build a little bit of confidence. You don't feel so alone. It just
makes all the difference. Yeah. And it becomes not just a traveler, not just a community of travelers, but a community of locals, right? Because we're all from somewhere, right? We all have advice about some place that we're from, and who better to give you that advice than somebody who lives there right now, who can give you like the real live, even if it's, you pick up a guidebook. What if you pick out a really cute hotel that you want to stay at and then you show up there and it's not there anymore? To have real up-to-date information, I think, through somebody who has eyes and ears on the ground, who's there, who's from there, who can give you that real cultural, understanding and can kind of be there for you. It's just,
it changes everything. And it's immediate. It's exactly what you said, like a lot of guidebooks, even some of the ones that maybe you have an affinity towards, they don't always have the bandwidth. They can't, once it's printed, they can't possibly tell you what's changed. So having that
Right.
local perspective is key for me.
Totally.
And I want to talk about too, I don't know in the audience if anyone is interested in a career as a creator in the travel space, but this is also kind of one of the cornerstones of what Wanderful does. So can you talk a little bit about maybe the resources that are provided or the support, the advice?
Yeah, so we started as a blog in 2009, and I think that's a really critical part of the story because over time, what happened was, I was traveling alone. I was living abroad in Sao Tome and Principe, which is a two-island Portuguese-speaking nation off the west coast of Africa. I came back. I started this content site. I was including voices from women all around the world. We started hosting meetups in Chicago, and then expanded them. Now we have 50 chapters worldwide that are real on the ground, real people meeting in real places, and I tell that story because in the time we didn't have the language to describe the transformation that we were having as a business. But basically, what was happening was the story of a lot of creators today, which start from a place of content. Maybe they're an Instagrammer, maybe they're a YouTuber, maybe they start a blog, and then they build it into a bigger business because they identify a problem in the world that they're trying to solve. And so, in having gone through that journey ourselves, we wanted to create a space that helped other women navigate, women and also everyone, men. I think we have all sorts of people that come to WITS now. But for people to kind of navigate that space on their own. So we created WITS in 2014, which stands for the Women in Travel Summit. And it is an event for creators, small business owners, influencers, media, marketers, members of the travel industry that want to meet and work with these people. And it's really professional networking. It's about the changing landscape of travel. We have a really strong DEI component. And that translated into half of our community, a portion of our membership community that is all focused on helping content creators build their businesses. Because I think, going to this larger component of helping make travel better for women, the only way we can make travel better for women is by getting more women's voices in the decision-making role of the travel industry. So helping women really rise in these positions of leadership, whether it's through an existing company or creating your own company. And so that's been a large part of our journey, is not just helping women travel, but also helping women build really lasting, sustainable businesses from a place of where they might have begun, maybe a place of content, into something that can transform the travel industry into something that's representative of all of us.
Yeah, it's funny because like when I started going to the Women in Travel Summit in 2015, and
Yeah.
at that time I was just a content creator, and I don't mean just, but that was what I was doing, was
Yeah.
working with brands
Yeah.
that we met on that campaign, and now I'm kind of like in a whole other direction. I mean, it's still very much travel, but it's amazing the the women, the contacts, the people you meet along the way, that you start to realize, hey, there's other ways I can contribute to this experience to make it better for everyone. And so it's a
Absolutely.
wonderful, safe, like inclusive space. And that's the thing I
Mhm.
wanted to talk about. Two things. Who is wonderful? Who do you target? Like, who is it good for, and who is maybe not a fit for?
So I think, even though we're not a community of solo travelers, I think solo travel is a really good conversation to start from, because a lot of people find us on or before a solo travel experience. When they're feeling a little bit maybe more nervous, they're looking for a little bit more connection, they're looking for answers, they're looking for community. And so a lot of people who join Wanderful actually join in some phase of transition in their life. So one thing I love about us is that we're actually an incredibly intergenerational community. And I think that that's very important, because travel can become a part of your life at many different times in your life. It's not just in your early 20s. It's not just, after you study abroad or whatever. It can happen in so many phases. And the stories that women tell us when they join run the gamut from I just graduated college to, more frequently, actually, I was recently divorced, or I was recently widowed, or I'm an empty nester now, and I'm looking to explore travel in a way that I never had a chance to before, for good or for bad. And I think that that's really special. So we have women who are experiencing some kind of change in their life, that are looking for community, looking for friendships, looking for a support network. And then the other thing that we've noticed about Wanderful is it's not just like a one-off experience, right? It's not, I'm going on a trip and I need a tip right now and then I'm going to leave.
Yeah.
We found actually that during the pandemic, as things were closing down, as travel stopped, the membership of Wanderful grew like significantly. And, a lot of people are thinking like, well, that doesn't really make sense. Your travel kind of stopped. But what happened was Wanderful women we're just travelers through and through, right? Like we think about travel even when we're not doing it. And we're looking for that community of other people who feel the same way. And so I think the difference between a Wanderful traveler and somebody who might just use, a travel service is that travel is an essential part of who we are. We believe that you can do it 5 minutes away from your home if you're prescribing to some of the fundamentals of travel, which I think are just challenging your preconceptions, trying new things, getting uncomfortable. If you can find yourself getting uncomfortable a few miles from your home, to me, that's as much of a travel experience as going far away, So I think embracing what the ideals of travel are that can bring you and looking for a moment of community and collaboration. I think those are the kind of people who become part of Wanderful.
And you know what? There's this question. Hold on a second. I want to make sure and get this from Isabel. You see, can you be part of
Yeah. Oh, great question.
even if you don't travel often? And I know we were going to
Yes.
talk about that, but yeah, let's talk about it right now.
Yeah, no, and I love, Isabel, that you asked this question because it is such a frequent one. People will say like, oh, well, I'm not really traveling that often. Am I, going to use it or not use it? And I actually think sorry, now my dog is barking in the background. Like, so great. Everybody's going to hear everybody's dogs. But it's, that's a really neat part of what we do is it's not just you use it on the ground. It's also, we have virtual events almost every day where you can build your global mindset. We call them side trip Saturdays, where we do virtual visits to different places around the world. We have language classes, we have cooking classes, we have webinars that talk about travel budgeting, all different things that you can do. And then we also have a hosting network. So if you're not traveling, but you want to meet other people, you can actually be the person that meets up for coffee with the person who's coming to town,
Yeah, imagine that's great because then you're meeting women from like, oh, someone's here from, Jordan or from Japan.
Yes.
You've got like international friends, like even if you never been there.
Making travel friends all over the world. You don't have to travel at all to do it,
Right.
And I think that's like such a critical component. And I think sometimes we have so many expectations of what travel is supposed to be. We think like, oh, I'm not a real traveler if I haven't been to 100 countries and I'm not constantly living, on a mountain by myself. I mean, but travel can be so many different things for so many different people. And if we're accepting of that and we open our minds and ourselves to opportunities to learn and to grow from other people, you can do that in your house.
Yeah. I know yesterday I missed it this month, but I was able to attend last month. And like it's Wonderful Woman Wednesday. You have the opportunity to just have like a really nice, and it's an hour. And it happens at different times. So globally, if it doesn't work one month, it'll work for you another time zone wise. And you get to meet all these women on Zoom. And I know some of you, maybe you have Zoom fatigue. I don't know, but it's also just such a wonderful opportunity. There's usually you get to hear about some new aspect of a travel business and then just have a chat. And I've always had so much fun visiting with everybody and just getting to know people from around the world, and that's simple. You don't even leave your house. So
and those stories I think are some of the best parts. I mean, it's travel is great, but also it's even better when you can share those stories again and again and hear other people's stories. And I think that's like the difference between a traveler and a non-traveler. Like you want to hear those stories, right? You want to relish those moments. Like, oh, what did you do alone in that hostel in Iceland? And so I think like that's really fun. And we just bring that spirit back to each other. And even just seeing like, what does somebody's house look like? Where are they taking their call from? What are they eating for a snack? What are they wearing? Like all of these things for me are just little bits and pieces of information that we can use. And having these, everyone right here on the call too, you're all coming from all over the world. I mean, it's so special to be able to connect in that way. In no other time in our history have we been able to do this like we are now.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other thing is outside, if we expand that circle from inside your home, the next circle that Wanderful provides is that there are local chapters which I love. So once a month, and
Yep.
I'm fortunate. I think you have it in 50 different cities
Yep.
around the world, and it's
Yeah.
always expanding. If you want to start a local chapter in your town or city, you can also apply, say to Beth, hey, I want to start a chapter here.
Yes.
We have one here in Los Angeles, and once a month we meet up, and I found a new restaurant, a rooftop bar that I didn't know existed, and you talk
Love
to
it.
women from, and it's funny because the way you structure it, it's not exclusive. In fact, every time I show up, our amazing chapter director Nayla she's put it out on Eventbrite, and so women will show up from that don't even, they're like, oh, I didn't know what Wanderful was, but it was cool. It was all these travel women. So I
Oh,
came to sit down, and I've met authors, and I've met
I love
capoeira,
that.
not instructors, and just
Yeah.
women that have taught themselves to speak Portuguese. And it's amazing, like who you meet in your community, and Wanderful is actually the one that brings everybody together. So you still don't even have to
Mm,
get a plane ticket, and you still make new friends
yeah.
that have similar interests, which I love. So that's fantastic. And
It is
then
amazing how much that really is incredible. And, and we're not like, we all have day jobs. Well, this is my day job, but everyone else has a day job. We're scientists and we're teachers and we're, stay-at-home parents and everything that we're doing. But yet travel is the thing that unites us, and this deep love for travel. And I think that, that's something that we noticed early on, is just, especially after the pandemic, especially when we've been away from each other. I mean, to be able to connect to somebody in person, even if it is home, right? Because if you're traveling, maybe you're not home very often, maybe you don't have a chance to get out. For me, sometimes I say that this doesn't have anything to do with travel. It has to do with self-care, because travel is such an important part for me, even if I only do it once a year. Again, like, it doesn't matter how often you do it, but trying new things and challenging the way I see the world, those are things that are so important to who I am, that taking a minute to focus on that for me is a form of self-care. And for you, Juliana, like, there's so many things that are pushing you in different directions, work, families, whatever. To be able to say, I'm going to take an hour and I'm going to go and meet with some people that I don't know, and I'm going to talk about something I love because I love it. That's it.
yeah,
That's,
and
that's so powerful.
yeah, absolutely. And I also want to share with everyone that's listening. I think you, much like myself, have been so lucky that we seem to attract just the kindest, most inclusive, because I've had people before say, oh, I have a little anxiety around meeting people or traveling. And I tell everyone, on my trips, when people come on trips with me, the women that I have attracted, the people and my trips are not exclusive for women, but so far, once again, it's 100% female.
Happens.
The women that I attract are the kindest, funniest, most inclusive. I see them before they even meet up with me. We have a thread, and they're like taking care of it. Who wants to get an ice cream? Who wants to go take a walk by the river before
I
the tour
love that.
starts? I've got reservation. I made a reservation for everyone on the tour to go to dinner together. Like, and so I want to stress that not only am I lucky that this happens on my tours, but I see this in the events and the people that you attract to Wanderful, because I'll go to a local event and I'll know Nayla, but I maybe won't know anybody else. And you sit down in 15 minutes, you don't have to be gregarious and out there, just everybody's kind, and they'll strike up a conversation with the person next to them. There's not weird energy or clicky. It's just like, hi, how are you? And I think that makes you feel like
Yeah. Mhm.
confident, like safe. Like, we all, as we're kind of going back out into the world, I think we've forgotten how to people a little bit. And
I love that. We've forgotten how to people. We have forgotten how to people.
so,
Yes. Mhm.
so
Yeah.
yeah, so it's absolutely this idea that you can just kind of exhale and feel like and as someone who lives in Hollywood, I've been to my share of parties where people go hi and then just keep walking. But
Oh
you
my
can,
gosh.
you walk in and you're like, oh no, people genuinely just want to connect. And so I love that. And on that, because I know you're going to have to go soon, so I want to make sure we cover everything. If anybody is interested in going to the Women in Travel Summit in 2022, they haven't happened yet. So you're super lucky.
Yeah.
There's two coming up this year. I don't know that I'll make it to the domestic one, but I might make it to the international one. So do you just want to give us like a quick 1 minute, where are the summits if people want to show up and meet everyone at once?
Yeah, so we're going to be in Kansas City in early May. So that's our What's North America. And then we're going to Gdańsk, Poland in October. And we're really excited. They're both really fantastic events. We're just really thrilled to be getting together in person again after almost 3 years now that we haven't had since our last Wits was in Riga, Latvia in November of 2019. So it'll be really nice to get together again.
I've still, that one is, I had tickets to that one, and I wanted to go to Latvia.
Oh, it was
so
good.
bad.
I can't even lie to you. You really missed out.
No, I know.
But I will also say for anyone who's not coming from like a business professional content creator perspective, the other event that I would look into is called Wanderfest. We just launched it this year. It is the first major outdoor travel festival by and for women. We do it in New Orleans every year, starting this year. Next year, it's going to be March 11th and 12th, I think. And it's like travel inspiration, connection. We have music, speakers. Juliana was there for the pre-show, like the day before. And you will love it. So definitely check out wanderfestevent.com. You're going to meet so many amazing travel-loving women and men and other people that want to come and celebrate.
Yeah, so like that, there's 2 domestic events in the United States, and then hopefully once the world starts kind of returning to normal, there'll be an international one every year. I hope.
Yes.
Really excited about. Well, like I'm already going to Poland this year, so it's like, and I'm really familiar with Gdańsk, and I'm just so excited. It's just amazing place. If you've ever been curious about Poland, you have several opportunities to go there this year. And beforehand, there's also small fam trips with Beth's tour. Or with Beth's.
Yeah, that's right. So with our conference, yeah.
To get a flavor of what it's like. If you want a buffet feast of what Poland's like, come with me. I still have some spots available, and it's just an incredible country. So hopefully this has been so helpful for you guys. I just wanted to put this on your radar and make sure, as travel loving people, that you knew this was something that was out there, that was available. You still have a few minutes to enter the oh my goodness,
contest
for the wonderful tote that neither Beth nor myself can show you, apparently.
I know.
We'll
just describe it as best we can.
It's lovely. It's a beautiful
Gorgeous.
turquoise color. I'll make sure. Oh, look at this, Jane. Look at Jane. She's like, I need to go to NOLA. Yes, you do.
Yes.
Simon wants to know, what is the age range of the Wanderful community?
Yeah, we have women as young as 20, and I think we have women in their early 80s as well. We have, so really across the board. And we also have a bunch of virtual meetups for various identity groups. We have a 60 plus travelers group where they famously say they don't check IDs, they're just so fun, such awesome women. We have a group that we're launching for Gen X women as well. So really across the board. And honestly,
first rule of Gen X is that Gen X doesn't exist.
Oh, right. We don't talk about, we don't talk about, well, I'm a millennial, so I don't even know what Gen X is, but the other thing I want to say this really quick, because I think it's really special, is I have noticed, we get a lot of questions about age, and we often get them from women who are over the age of 60, I would say, who are really kind of a little concerned, because a lot of the messaging is to younger women. When we talk about travel, we think, it's like women in their 20s and 30s. Interesting facts. The average age of a solo traveler is 47. The average age of an adventure traveler, is upper 40s. So we're finding that women are actually traveling later in life. Not that 40s is later in life, I promise. But also, we have women that come to our meetups. And I met a woman once who was in her 70s, and she was like, I stand outside of these meetups before I go in because I'm afraid I'm going to be the only person my age in this room. And she's like, I felt so comfortable coming into a Wanderful meetup and seeing just this incredible diversity, like ethnic diversity, age diversity. And that's something that we really lean into, right? Because you have to go. And yes, Patricia, I am working on a 70 plus group. I 100% want to get one going. We had a 75-year-old woman twerking in our body twerk class at Wanderfest. So if that doesn't convince you to come to Wanderfest in New Orleans, I don't know what does.
So let's see. Make sure that we've got any questions. If you have any last minute questions, Beth has a hard out in a few minutes. So make sure you put them in the chat right now. Notes from today's show, and that you'll have the replay notes, any links. Make sure you put notes in the comments so that we can get that to you. And if you have any other nuggets, get them in now because we're about to have that drawing. So I'm just going to quickly recap. Oh, one thing I didn't ask you, Beth, if people want to follow Wanderful, or if they want more information about joining, how can they do that?
Our URL is sheswanderful.com. She's Wanderful with an A.com. And that's going to get you all the information you need. And you can learn about our membership community, our events, everything. Check it out.
Wait, I'm going to put it in the...
Yeah, drop it in the chat. That'd be perfect. And when my name shows up, it has our handle, She's Wanderful. That's on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, everywhere.
Oh, look, there's some guy named Marvin.
Who happens to be my husband, and also happens to be on the other side of this room right now. So I think he just figured out what I was doing.
Hey, Marvin. Marvin is Beth's husband, who's super fun. I got to meet him at a wonderful event. And can men attend if they want to?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. No, we're totally gender inclusive. I think our goal is to help women. So if you believe that we should be helping women travel the world, and women's issues, by the way, are everybody's issues, then come and join us. Yep.
Absolutely. Just like my tours.
Yes.
Men are welcome.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So what did we talk about today? I am so excited that you all joined us today. If you're watching on my personal page or on YouTube, go ahead and put notes in the comment if you want the notes, and you actually are eligible for the drawing if you are in my Facebook page. So if I've missed your comments and you've been commenting, it's because I unfortunately cannot see them. I can only see them on my Facebook page, but I will come back and wave hello to you. But thank you so much for joining us to talk about how to find travel friends abroad. And what else did we talk about today? We talked about how to make travel friends all over the world. We talked about how the global Wanderful community provides resources for solo female travelers. We talked about how you can make friends who love to travel in your very own community and without even leaving your house. And if you want to start a career as a creator in the travel space, you can join Wanderful for resources, for support and advice. Anything else we talked about that I didn't touch on? I think we got it, right?
That everyone should be part of this and go travel and get out there. And it doesn't matter what travel you do, just go and challenge yourself and try new things and get uncomfortable and meet people and take care of yourself.
Oh, I love it. I love it. So we're about to do the drawing right now, right before Beth leaves. So I also want you to remember, if you probably know this by now, but I also do cultural immersion trips in Eastern Europe. I have a few spaces left for Poland, Georgia, and Slovenia. Amazing connective trips with local women and families. So please come along. If you need information about that, DM me. I'm always here for you. You know where to find me. So let's pick a winner. I just put another comment from Jenny. Jenny's going with me to Poland. I'm so excited.
Oh, nice.
All right. Let's go. I'm gonna scroll, Beth, and you are gonna say stop. And when you stop, hopefully I land on someone's nugget comment, and we'll see who wins the Wanderful tote bag. All right. I'm scrolling.
Okay. Stop.
It was not a nugget. But I'm gonna do the one right underneath it. Right underneath it is Tamara Holler.
Yay!
Tamara, are you in the United States? Can you just confirm that you are in the US? I want to make sure. Thank you. She says thank you. Was that thank you for the, or maybe that was thank you to Beth. I think you're in it, but Tamara, I want to see Beth's dog.
I don't even know if my dog is still here. Where is she? No.
I know, mine ran away too. Oh, Tamara's in Oregon. So woo! Tamara, you get the wonderful tote. It's amazing. So thank you guys for joining us. We'll be back next Thursday, April the 14th, same time at noon. And my special guest will be Lavinia Spalding. If you haven't heard of her, she's an author and the writer of Writing Away. A Creative Guide to Awakening the Journal Writing Traveler. And we're going to talk about travel, journaling, writing, how to get the most out of your trip by keeping your adventures rooted in awareness. And I'm going to give away more copies of Lavinia's book. I have it. I love it. So please join me next week. Thank all of you. And thank you, Beth. I love you.
Thank you.
I'm
Love
so
you
happy to see
too.
you. We'll see you soon. All right.
Thanks for having me. Nice meeting you all. Take care.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.